Okay, so in the second section, we will move our focus on modern society and to see the modern slavery from different perspectives there.
Yeah, because people don't realize that slavery is still very much alive and happening pretty much all around the world today.
So I will share with our students a really surprising figure that I found out in last year 2016 slavery index. There are still like 45.8 million people in nowadays world are considered in a kind of slavery. And that sounds horrible, right?
Well, it's twice the population of Taiwan as slavery around the world.
And the index also lists some countries like India, China, and Pakistan or Bangladesh are countries that lots of people may still in a kind of state of slavery nowadays.
Very much in places like India, where there is a caste system, where some people are seen as more superior than others purely because of their family and the type of work that they've traditionally done. There's at the bottom of the pile are the untouchables, and very often the untouchables have to work very long hours during the day, for which they receive maybe somewhere to live and a little food only.
And I think those countries mentioned are also very big countries. That means, right, we get lots of villages, and in these areas, maybe there will be brokers, right, coming to these areas and talk to these people, these poor people, and offer them sounds really good job. So they would like to follow these brokers to the cities or to the companies, right, where they can work then.
Absolutely. And because of today's technology and the fact that we move around the world so quickly and so easily now, if we go back in time and look at the average price paid for a slave 1,000 years ago and then convert that into today's value, that was over 40,000 US dollars per slave. So 1,000 years ago, they were a very expensive commodity and a luxury to have. Today, people are trading for as little as $9 for a real live person.
So when those, right, workers, or we say modern slaves, come to work in these factories, they probably need to face really long work hours. And maybe before they are able to start their work, they probably lost their IDs and they don't get cell phones or other access to the outside world.
Absolutely. I mean, in some places, maybe China, maybe Myanmar, maybe what used to be Burma, people often don't have IDs. They're born in the villages, their births are not registered, they have no ID, no passport, and therefore no ability to claim anything from the state. And they find themselves rounded up and sent to factories where they often have to work 14 hours a day, 6 days a week, and then on Sunday, often they have to work again in the morning, only leaving half a day free for doing washing and personal things.
So the other thing I am sad to mention is that we probably think, okay, this happens in other countries, but not in Taiwan. But actually, I think this kind of thing takes place in Taiwan as well. So recently, we read a report about one Indonesian worker who has been forced, right, to work in a dry tofu company for 14 years. And the owner did not, right, give her enough wage and no cell phone, and could not return to her country or contact her family for the whole more than 1 decade. It's really hard to believe, but it's sad to know there's such slavery in Taiwan as well.
Slavery in most of the civilized or so-called civilized world, we can see it everywhere. I was reading only at the weekend that there'd been a police raid here in Taichung on a house of ill repute where prostitution was taking place. The girls there were not Taiwanese, they were Indonesian and Malaysian. They were being held captive, their passports had been taken away from them. They were given food and quotas to fill.
And sometimes when the condition is too bad for these workers, they'll probably try to run away. And once they become runaways, their new owners or no hires may say, okay, they are runaways. If you don't follow our instructions, we will report you to the police.
Absolutely, making it really coercive for people to stay. But let's ask the students some questions now.
Okay, so would you like to start first?
Sure. Think about today's society, students, and where do you think you will find slavery in modern day cities?
And my second question would be, well, there are different kinds, of slaves around the world. So what kind of slaves do you think you might find in nowadays societies?